So the market has changed. Prices have gone up, interest rates are up, and you're considering renting versus buying. Which is better? Well, let's take a look and find that out. So a lot of people have reached out lately telling me that they're thinking about renting for a while or indefinitely because prices to own a home are just too expensive right now. They feel like insurance is going up and interest rates are going up. And I thought I would do just a quick rent versus own comparison, make it super simple for people to see kind of the difference of which is better. One thing to keep in mind is that interest rates are actually still pretty historically low compared to the last 30 or 40 years. We've seen interest rates as high as 18, 19% in the 80s and pretty high even in the 90s. So we are still relatively low, even though they're hovering right around 6 to 6.25, 6.5%. So let's dive in and talk a little bit about this. The decision of whether you're going to rent or own a property can be a tough one for many people. While both options come with their own advantages and disadvantages, what is the best option financially in the long run for you? In this short video, we'll compare the net worth of a renter and a homeowner over a 40-year period using some data from several sources, including a rent-to-own calculator. So let's start with the renter. We will assume that the renter starts with a monthly rental amount of about $1,500 a month, and they're going to keep that rental amount for about 10 years. Made it super simple. And then after 10 years, they're going to be paying about $2,500 for the next 30 years. So this is pretty conservative. As you know, in Tampa, if you're in this area, the Tampa Bay area, rent for a 1-bedroom is about $1,500 a month. And for a 2 or 3 bedroom, it's easily $2,200 to $2,500 a month. So if we assume that stays the same for 40 years, that's really conservative because as we all know, rent definitely goes up. So after 40 years, the total spent on rent for that particular person, that example, would be approximately $1,080,000 over 40 years. Now keep in mind the renters move more often than homeowners do. This results also in a lack of tenure at work, in many cases, a lack of raises that you would potentially get for staying in the same area, the same company, that sort of thing. There's moving costs associated with the multiple moves compared to owning a home. There's more spent on everything in the home, like furniture, furnishings, that sort of thing. Because as you move more often, you tend to replace furniture and things like that more often. When you own, you typically buy, longer lasting furniture, more sturdy furniture that'll, last through the years, as opposed to renting when you tend to buy stuff that's kind of throwaway. Next, let's look at the homeowner. We will assume that the homeowner buys a $300,000 property with a 5% down payment, which is $15,000, and they get a really good rate in today's interest rate times of 6%, a fixed rate interest on a 30-year mortgage. That's approximately $2,167 a month. The homeowner will also have to pay some property taxes and insurance. These costs are estimated to be about $780,000. And on top of that, they'll have repairs and upgrades along the way. Let's assume they replace the air conditioner 4 times over 40 years and the roof 2 times, the hot water heater 6 times, and that's about $65,000. But let's double that for any other minor repairs along the way, maybe a kitchen or bath upgrade that they want to do, as well as a paint job or 2, inside and out. So in total, let's say the homeowner spent $900,000 over 40 years. So at the end of it, the renter actually spent a lot more to live in the same house for the most part of 40 years. They spent approximately $180,000 more to rent over the 40 years. Now some might say, well, that's only about $4,500 a year. True, but let's take a look at the biggest difference. While the cost for both options appear similar, it is important to consider that the homeowner built equity and the house appreciated over that 40 years. The average rate of appreciation for real estate over the long haul is anywhere from 3 to 5%. And that takes into account even bad, huge market moves like we just came out of. Over the long haul, it's going to be 3 to 5% appreciation. The renter didn't build any equity. They have zero appreciation, and they have a house that's worth nothing to them because they don't own it. So after 40 years, the homeowner's property is estimated to be worth about $1.2 million. Isn't that crazy? While the renter has nothing to show for their $1,080,000 in rent payments. When that appreciation of the property is taken into account and the equity, the difference between renting and owning becomes life-changing. I don't know about you, but $1.2 to $1.3 million is life-changing money for just about anyone right now. The homeowner's value after 40 years would be estimated to be approximately that $1.2 to $1.3 million. That's conservatively speaking, while the renter's net worth is still zero. So it is worth mentioning that the comparison is based on several assumptions and may not be applicable to every situation. However, the numbers are in. The data suggests that owning a property can be more financially advantageous, and it usually is in the long run compared to renting. So in conclusion, the choice of whether to rent or own a property is a personal one for you. It should be made on individual circumstances and situations and your financial goals. However, the data and the numbers do show that owning a property can lead to a significantly higher net worth over a long period of time compared to renting. One last thing I'll point out, it's very interesting to note that if you are able to buy a house at an early age and you want to invest your money, there's no better place, in my opinion, to invest your money than in a rental property that could do the same exact thing, except instead of you paying that mortgage every month, you have a renter paying that mortgage. So you realize 100% of the appreciation of that property without paying a single dime into the property after your down payment. So if you're interested in building wealth by buying investment properties, give me a call. I'd love to help you out with that too. It's changed my life. I'd love to change yours too. Have a great one.